Welcome to the virtual Sox Spring Break Series, a chance to hear from the 2021 White Sox as we get set for what should be a really fun season. I'm Len Casper, the White Sox radio play-by-play voice. Today, we are featuring a coaches roundtable, Hall of Fame manager and returning champion, Tony Larussa is with us. Hi, Tony.
Hey, I do.
Doing great. Hitting coach, Frank Menechino. Hi, Frank.
How you doing, man?
Doing great, and welcome to new pitching coach, Ethan Katz. Ethan, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So we're going to talk some baseball here over the next 20 to 30 minutes, guys. We will have a few questions from White Sox fans as well. But, Tony, why don't we kick things off, and you can give us an overview of the club as we get to start spring training here.
I think as we're reminding ourselves, Len, we don't want to win the on-paper championship during the offseason. But if there was, we'd be tied for first with, whatever club you want to look at. Front office, Kenny and Rick and Jeremy have been really, really productive coming this far, and then they've added some important pieces. So, I think our goal is to be a very complete club. Which means starting pitch good, into the game with relievers pitching good, and play good defense and have a good offense. And the talent is here. And so I think our fans should be excited.
Frank, the position player nucleus returns intact with some intriguing additions. Couple of questions for you to break the ice. Your offensive group finished fifth in the majors in runs per game last year. So a lot of this, I guess, is maintenance of good habits, right? And then number two, so talk about last year leading into this year and what that means. And then the additions of Adam Eaton, maybe a further infusion of some youth, hopefully a full season of Nick Madrigal with the good contact skills. I think everybody does a bounce back from Yoán Moncada and maybe a little Andrew Vaughn as well. So maybe last year into this year, and then some of the guys who either weren't here or didn't play as much and might be big factors.
Well, everybody talks about last year like it was actually a year. It was really only me having 2 months with these guys. So I was able to learn some things. I wish it would have been longer, but I was able to learn some things with these guys and introduce some new stuff to them. And they responded well. I'm really looking forward to spring training and a full season to see what these guys really can do. You got a young Andrew Vaughn, you got a young Nick Madrigal. Everything leading up to this year is promising. And, you got Louis Robert, he's young too. And then, you come off Abreu, TA, Eloy. A lot of people overlook what Eloy did offensively last year, but we got Adam Eaton, a veteran guy. I think we have a really good mix of players here, and it's going to boil down to how hard are they willing to work, how good they come together as a team, and what they really want. Sky's the limit with them, and I'm going to be here to help along and keep these guys where they want to be and still win now, mentality, day by day, game by game, series by series. But we got a good enough team and we got a good mix of guys that it's gonna depend on how well they gel and how bad they want it.
Ethan, you've had a long-standing relationship with Lucas Giolito. What's been your process here? And I know every day that goes by, you get to know the rest of the group. And similar also to the question to Frank, you inherit a group that finished sixth in the majors in ERA, so you've got to be really excited to see them get to work.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very exciting group, very talented group on top of that. There's a lot of work that they put into the offseason to better themselves, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing how this plays out as we get things rolling here. But it's been a very exciting season for a lot of these guys.
And what is your process in getting to know your pitchers? Because that is a very personal relationship, right, between pitcher and pitching coach.
Yeah, I mean, it started with the minute I got hired, reaching out, connecting with these guys, getting to know them, see how they tick, what they're trying to work on, them getting feedback from me and kind of seeing what they might need to work on, and just having that dialogue consistently throughout the off season. So once we got here, once we get going here in Arizona, they already have an idea of what I'm looking for them to do and what the organization's expecting as well.
Hey, Tony, let's talk about your coaching staff. I mean, as I look at your managerial career, you've managed for almost half your life. And you had Dave Duncan with you for a long time. It's great. Shelley is going to be a part of this group. Miguel Cairo played for you. You do have some personal connections here. You don't have to specifically go through each guy, but just that process for you of getting to know, Ethan and Frank and your coaching staff.
Important point to make, I think, Lynn, was to recognize the success that they had growing in the last 2 or 3 years and culminating last year where they ended up, having a solid winning record and qualified for October baseball. So based on that success, kind of the philosophy that talked a lot about with Rick and Kenny was wherever possible, let's have continuity with the coaching staff. So you see Joe McEwing is back, Darryl Boston is back, Kurt Haster in the bullpen, Frankie's back, and Scott Kuba was going to come back until he got hired by the Tigers. So we were looking for a third base coach and a pitching coach. So, we got Miguel Cairo, as you mentioned, we were together in St. Louis, and Miguel's going to be on the bench. Joe's going to go to third base. Ethan joins our staff, and just heard so many great things about him. And in the interview, he just checked every box. We also, which I think is really important, in talking with Ethan when he first came with us, he really believes something that Dunk believed, that if you want to pitch well, you got to catch well. The relationship between the pitchers and the catchers understanding, how you can mostly get them to be themselves, which involves the coach's contribution. So we hired Jerry Narin as the catching coach, and with Howie Clark came on to be the assistant with Frank. So. And you mentioned it before. Every place that I've been, I was very fortunate. The owner, starting with Jerry, and then same in Oakland and St. Louis, they recognize the value of a coaching staff, and I think our staff is excellent. And what I like so much about it is that there's a lot of guys that already are familiar to this club, and the new guys are going to get to know our team very quickly.
Frank, you mentioned last season and the challenges, and I'm curious to get the thoughts of all three of you. Frank, we'll start with you, and we'll go to Ethan, and then Tony. What was the biggest challenge? And from my perspective, what I had heard around the league is that hitters struggled with not being able to watch in-game video, and it sounds like that will be allowed in some form or fashion this year. So is that going to be the biggest change in terms of that hurdle for some of your guys dealing with pandemic baseball, so to speak?
They complained about it, but I complained about it more because, I have a system going in and looking at stuff and making in-game adjustments. That was an adjustment for me being my first year with these guys, not really knowing them as well as I wanted to. So it was definitely an adjustment, especially for me. I'm sure a lot of guys are going to be relieved that they're able to, go in and look. But the bottom line is you got to do your homework before the game. If you want to go in there and use that as a tool to maybe see, if you're seeing exactly what you're seeing, sometimes guys just need to check themselves to see if they actually saw what they saw. But as far as all the video stuff, it's important that these guys do it beforehand and then go play the game. There was some times where I was happy they couldn't go in and out because then you get paralysis by analysis during the game. And it's just not good. I mean, as far as preparing, the video, you gotta use the video. And I'm not quite sure sometimes, being a new hitting coach with these guys, if they really knew what they were looking for. That getting to know your players and know what they look for and what they're actually looking at. So hopefully we can get that squared away. And, once I talk to them and understand how they look at video, I think it'll help us learn each other better and, know who I have to kick out of the video room.
Ethan, before I get to you, Tony, I want to let you chime in because your good friend Lou Piniella, the one thing he has said all along is that guys need to stay on the bench more and actually watch the pitcher, and a little bit of a crutch for some guys, right, to run back to the video room in between at bats, whereas Lou always thought, get in the game, sit in the dugout and watch. So in a weird way, it kind of forced guys to maybe be in the game a little more, right?
Yeah, I smiled because I actually think that, first of all, whatever the rules are, you adjust to them. If they allow you to watch video. But there is a real skill, as Frankie mentioned. When you watch the video, you got to know how it can help you, and it can confuse you. So I agree with Lou. I think being on the bench when you're not taking your at-bat helps you stay in the flow of, where the momentum is, whether you got to take it away from them or you have to maintain it. And you're watching the pitcher who's getting the other guys out, and that's better than the video. I think, as Frank said, a lot of the video is preparation ahead of time. And I think that getting rid of it, Hank Aaron didn't have it, and he had no problem. I think it just puts the focus on what you prepare for and then what you're actually watching and how you communicate with your bench coach and your hitting coach during the game. So I'm all for restricting it, but if it's allowed, we use it. If there's not, I'm good with that. Even better with that.
Ethan, I saw a quote from veteran John Lester, who's now with the Nationals. He said it was a 60-game schedule and it was the longest season of his life. Is it safe to say that the mental grind of going through what guys did last year and potentially this year is just all the other stuff and trying to kind of empty your mind a little bit when you get to the ballpark and get to work? Yeah,
I mean, it was definitely grinding on a lot of, just for everyone in general, like just the protocols, not being able to, sometimes not be able to see your family, not be able to go out and get something to eat after a game or be able to socialize the way that you normally would. I mean, it was tough. There was a lot of rules to follow and to make this whole thing run for every team. But it is what it is. We have to do it. We have to adjust, and whatever they throw our way, we have to do it better than everybody else to be able to stay safe and be able to put out the best product on the field. So there's challenges, but we have to overcome them no matter what they are.
We have some questions from White Sox fans. Mark from Schaumburg wants to chime in. Go ahead, Mark.
Hi, this is Mark from Schaumburg. This question's for Tony Larussa. This is about his batting order. Last year, I was wishing that Robert batted high in the order. I know at the end he struggled a little bit, but I want to know his thoughts on batting some of our young guys higher in the order. Does he believe they should be lower in the order, or does he have the confidence in them batting higher in the order this year? So I'll listen to hear what he has to say, and I wish the Sox best of luck this upcoming season. Thanks.
The thing that I like the most about our lineup is the depth. If you look at the really good teams out there that win a lot of games and they beat good pitchers, it's because every inning you play, the lineup is deep enough to where you get tough outs. So we like to feature, and I think we will, that whether you're hitting the first third, middle third, or last third. The other thing you need to do is, experience is a great teacher. And Luis is just getting his feet wet. One of the advantages that he has breaking in is he's got veteran hitters now that have been productive, like Tim and Jose, now Adam. So sometimes you'll see with a young hitter, just because organizations are forced to do it, they have to force them up earlier in the middle of the lineup because they're lean. And that's really an unfair pressure. So, well, our attitude is you earn what you whatever you get, you earn. And I'm sure that Luis in his career is going to be locked up in the middle of that early part of the lineup. But for right now, to get those at bats, he's going to have to earn them. And he's not going to lead off ahead of Tim. He's not going to hit third ahead of Jose. And it'll be fun to watch him develop.
Frank, in terms of the batting order, you're a former big leaguer and just the guys you've been around. How important is it for most guys to generally know where they're going to hit every day? Or you have the mindset that as long as your name's in the lineup, it doesn't matter?
As long as your name's in the lineup, it don't matter. You generally don't change your approach. You don't change how you think. Your goal is to get on base however way you can. Your goal is to look at the situation and try to get it done. Your goal is to drive in that guy. Your goal is to know the scoreboard and know the situation that you're in. So, with a leadoff guy, you're leading off the game once, right? So you're the leadoff guy once. And then, there's different guys leading off all the time. And like Tony says, when you have a deep lineup, you're expecting everybody to do the same, have tough at-bats, work the pitcher, and get on base, pass the baton. So, to me, it doesn't matter where you are in the order.
Guys, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about some of the fairly new rules that have been implemented. The 3-batter minimum is one that appears to be here to stay. Ethan, as a pitching coach, just curious to get your general thoughts on that new rule and how it affected play last year and moving forward with your guys.
It affects, you just got to be ahead of things. You have to kind of see where you might want to make a change and kind of be out in front of it. And kind of if the pitcher does have to face more than 3 hitters, what does that 4th hitter look like? And kind of understand the whole dynamic of the lineup and try to find spots where best suits for each guy to where they can be successful and help the team win. But you just got to be out in front of it. You got to be thinking ahead and understanding where the game's at.
Tony, you can still match up, but you might be looking at an advantage in 2 out of 3 guys as opposed to just 1 platoon advantage, right? And that also instructs your lineups against the other team's bullpen, correct?
Well, it's one of those things, Lynn, that what do the rules allow? When you could match up hitter to hitter, you make it as tough for them to score as possible. I know that the impetus for that rule, I think there were 2 of them. One of them, too many teams were using scripts to make pitching changes, and it just, according to what the script said, I'm gonna make the change. Secondly, every time you make a pitching change, it slows the game down, especially in the last third, when the excitement is building. So I think as soon as they put the rule in, what does that tell you? I mean, the most common example was a left-hand reliever, the specialist. Well, you teach that guy a way to get a right-hand hitter out. I mean, it's not something that you're stuck in. You just throw your hands up and said, we can't deal with it. The 60 games last year, I thought was not enough of a barometer. In the 60 games, the ones that I saw, rarely was a 3-batter minimum, an important factor. I think once you play 162, it's going to be something. But we encourage Ethan and Kurt to give these guys weapons to where they can face more than one guy.
Frank, the runner at second in extra innings, I got to be honest, I was ready to hate it. And the first time I saw it, I kind of loved it because it really added a lot of strategy in extra innings. And whether you're the home team or the road team, it's a lot different, right? The road team kind of goes in knowing they have to score multiple runs probably to win. If you're the home team in a tie ball game, the idea is to move a guy over. But there's a little more small ball involved when you're the home team in a tie ball game in the 10th moving forward, at least in 2021 and as we saw last year, right?
Yeah, I saw it in AAA the year before. When I was in AAA in Charlotte, I seen that. And but I don't like it because if you're a team that can play small ball and you're a team that can manufacture runs, I think it's an advantage as opposed to the guys that just go up there and everybody wants to try to hit the game-winning home run And that's how you get into all these long innings and all this stuff. I think it takes away from the strategy of teams that could work pitches, that could, battle through a 10-pitch at bat and get a walk, guys that could bunt, guys that could play small ball. It takes away from that because now you're just saying, okay, we'll just put the guy at second for you, and we want to just get this over with as quick as possible. So I really don't like it as far as a time saver and maybe saving the pitchers. Great. But I think it takes away from a lot of, skill that some guys need to be in the big leagues or some skills that guys have, and that's why they're in the big leagues. So I'm not a big fan of it, but it is what it is.
It sure is. It is what it is. Everybody has an opinion. Tony, what do you think of the runner at second in extras?
Well, as I said, I don't like to disagree with Frank. I wish you hadn't asked me, but I'm okay with it. I'll tell you how when it first was discussed several years ago, I thought that somewhere around the 11th or 12th, it would make sense because, once you're upstairs, like I have been the last bunch of years, when you have these games that go 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, it just beats up your system. There's so many changes that have to go. It reverberates through and through. And by the time you get to the 12th or something, there's nobody watching. And the reason it lasts long is exactly what Frank said. Everybody's trying to be a hero, hit a home run, and you don't get a rally start or get them home. So I think a definite end was good, like the 12th. The 10th, I'm good with it. I watched it last year, and I think a finality for our game that sometimes, you like that suspense. I think it's good for it. And it comes down to, in fact, we were talking about this yesterday, the strategy. If you're a home team and you got a great bullpen like we think we do, you play for one run. But more and more, the guy gets to third base with one out and the runner doesn't score him. The hitter doesn't score him. And that's going to be up to Frank to fix that. But I think that if you play the game right, you're ready to play, where you can make one run or make several runs. And I think a decision, like on the road, you go for one or more, it's going to be a strategy, just opinion. And, somebody will watch a game and say, boy, they should play for one, and I'll go for more. And that's part of the fun. But I'm okay with it. I really am.
Ethan, I think of Lance Lynn, the newcomer, Dallas Keuchel, who came in last year, Liam Hendricks. I'd put Giolito certainly in this category now, Evan Marshall, among others. You've got a real interesting veteran group and a lot of leader-type guys on this staff. How important is kind of mentorship among the players for you as a coach? Your job is to make them as good as they can be, but when a teammate can also help, that's huge, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, we have a lot of veteran guys who have been very successful, but, players talk and, they communicate with one another and they listen to one another, and having them help one another out is very impactful in the clubhouse and for our team, and we'll get the most out of them. What they're trying to do with their stuff and picking each other's brain and why they've been so successful for so long it's huge.
All right, I want to quickly go around the horn here, and we got a couple more questions from fans too. But I want to get to know you guys a little bit. Frank, give us give me a name, give me a guy. It doesn't have to. I'm sure you had a million people who were successful or a big part of your success getting to the big leagues, but give us a name of someone you looked up to way back when who really helped you along the way.
Well, my dad helped me a lot. Of course, my dad, he knew what buttons to push, and he knew how to keep me focusing when I would get distracted or I start complaining. Guys are getting, called up ahead of me and all that stuff. But I'll tell you what, being in Oakland in the big leagues with that group of guys that I played with there, Chavez, Hudson, Isringhausen, Giambi, it was a great experience for me, and I learned a lot from them guys just watching them play, and by us being so close. And then you got guys like Ron Gant, David Justice coming in, and David Justice helped me a lot with the mental part of the game, and getting to know myself and what I can and cannot do on the field and stuff. But it was awesome, playing in Oakland with that group of guys. We really came together as a team, 16, 17 guys going out to dinner and stuff. We fought for each other. We played hard for each other, but we also kept each other in line. I mean, there was no line to cross when it came to game time and someone not doing something right. We really policed ourselves, and we really made sure that everybody was playing their butts off. So that was pretty good. I mean, that was a great experience for me.
Ethan?
I would say I've come across quite a few people. I've been fortunate. I've been with a couple organizations, and there's been a lot of people I've got a chance to meet and pick their brains, and been able to learn a lot from. An individual, I don't know. I think the sacrifices my mom made when I was growing up, trying to play this game for as long as I can, and then going into the coaching world, and then my wife, and having kids at home, and allowing me to coach at all their levels, and the sacrifices they've made, so I could be able to meet so many people and learn so much, has been probably the most impactful for me growing up and as a coach. So,
And Tony, maybe we'll do a quick two-parter here. As a teenager, way back when with the Kansas City A's, and then I guess someone who really meant a lot to you as you became a coach and a manager.
Well, my parents, mom and dad, my sister, a wonderful family, and we lived in Ybor City, which is next door to Al Lopez. Not next door, several blocks. So we were baseball fanatics. I've been influenced by them my entire life. Getting into baseball, I wasn't a very good player, but I survived as a manager, and I think I look back to the first opportunity with Bill Veck, Roland Heeman, and then Jerry Reinsdorf came in, and he could have fired me, but he kept me around. But when you're a bad player and you get a chance to manage, you got to have mentors. And George Kissel with the Cardinals was a great teacher. But I was lucky when I first got to the big. I'll say it really quickly. All the greats, Billy and Earl and Whitey and Sparky, Gene, they gave you the baseball Bible. And the last thing, it's not last because it's so important. We have really been blessed. I've been blessed with great coaches over the years, and I include what we got this year. But nowadays, the players of the game, they play. And the more competitive and entertaining, then the fans want to get excited. The rest of us are just trying to put them in a place. And we have the coaching staff to complement this great talent. And when I look back at why I'm thankful for the coaching staffs and all the mentors.
Well, I think we're running a little long here. I want to thank Max and Gabriel. They also chimed in. We won't get to their video, but Max wanted to know when it's safe to go to restaurants again. Tony, you got a spot? What's your favorite Chicago spot?
Well, I'll find one. It's going to be Italian someplace.
And Gabriel asks also, Tony, are you excited to wear the Candy Stripe 83 uniform at some point as well? I believe that's the Saturday home uniform.
Well, we all talk. They're still around Bull and Pudge, and but you're all of us. There ain't anything like the fun we had, Jimmy Leland. So that uniform always reminds me of that first championship and not playing Game 5, as our fans know. But I'll wear it with pride. But and that's I talk about I'm glad the fans are still doing that now because I thought that was a real thrill at the time. I hope it still will be.
Well, I can't tell all you guys how excited I am. Tony, I think I will be booed more vociferously at Wrigley Field than you were when you managed the Cardinals because I've moved to the other side of town. So that's number one. Frank, you look a lot younger than I do, but you and I are the same age. We both just hit the big 5-0. So belated happy birthday to you. Ethan, I cannot wait to get to know you really well and I know all your pitchers are really excited to work with you. So, guys, thanks so much for the time, and we want to thank all the White Sox fans out there. Let's have a wonderful 2021. Tony Larussa, Frank Menechino, Ethan Katz. I'm Len Casper. We'll see you at the ballpark at some point in 2021. Go Sox.